Humbert, the Behavioral Husbandry Coordinator at the Detroit Zoological Society. And training is an absolute priority for us here, and we're always looking for creative problem solving and to raise the bar for the care of our animals. So please come along on this journey with us as we share our problem solving successes. Hello, you're joining us today at the Matilda R. Wilson Free Flight Aviary. We've joined Alicia so she can talk about her unique problem solving methods and training. So what are some of the things that make a free flight aviary difficult to do training?
Yeah, so just like you said, free flight. So they have the ability to just fly over everywhere in this big habitat. So it's hard to kind of get them to voluntarily want to work with us and actually get onto the scale. It's a very small area that they have to be on, so it is difficult. And you also have to be able to read the numbers on the scale. So in order for me to do that, I kind of had to figure out how I can do that in a way that they're comfortable and I can actually see the numbers. Because if I can't see it, then it makes no sense.
True, and this also had to be voluntary, correct?
Yes, so it is difficult to try to get a bird that flies all over this habitat to go into one small location. So it has been a little bit difficult. They also kind of walk on the scale and just change the units sometimes, so that could be difficult too.
Sure. Thank you.
Yes.
So what steps did you take to implement your vision of this unique training?
Yeah, so I actually had the help of one of my coworkers, Nat, who does clicker training over here. So he kind of started with associating the clicker with worms for them to get them to come to a specific spot. And then so I just kind of ran with that once he established that. Okay. And then so I actually moved my training to one area, and then that was like higher up, more secluded, so they got comfortable with the scale and just kind of the behavior overall, and just kind of moved it closer and closer to where I wanted them to be, which was in our Howdy area. So if there's anything medical that I need to trap the birds for, it makes it super easy and voluntary to get them just into a spot that I need them.
That's awesome. So from this unique training and being creative in your problem solving, what are some of the successes that you've had utilizing these methods?
So on the camera, you can see really closely like their feet, their bands. I've been able to see some entanglements that we've had on our birds' feet, so we've been able to treat those with a video. There's some birds in here that have not been weighed more than 2 or 3 times in their entire lifetime. So that was pretty exciting to be able to get routine weights on them pretty much whenever I want to. When I do the training is definitely a huge success. And just, building a better relationship overall with the birds is really great. Before they would like fly away anytime they saw you or got close to you, and now I have the ability to get a much closer look at them just to make sure that everything's healthy on them.
That's wonderful. And it's all like using your iPhone and using things you have right around you.
Yeah, so. I actually didn't buy anything to do any of this training. We already had the scales because it's like a kitchen food prep scale. And yeah, so it's pretty easy, low minimum. It does take a little bit of time to kind of get them, used to you and to trust you, but I think it's worth your while.
Well, thank you so much for your amazing training and being with us today and showing us.
Of course, no problem.
Thank you. Hello, we are here today at the National Amphibian Conservation Center with Grace, and she's going to tell us a little bit about how she came up with a unique methodology for XLR training.
Hi. So it wasn't just me. There were a couple other people also that were in this helping us form this training. So Mary, you were of course one of them, because I didn't know anything about training really. I never really trained reptiles or mammals, so amphibians was kind of just a whole new ballpark, especially for you too, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
We wanted to choose an amphibian that was pretty food motivated. So originally we tried our Japanese giant salamanders, which they just weren't very food motivated. We wanted to do recall training with them, and it just didn't work out. So we decided to do axolotls. There's a lot of research out there, or at least some, based on dendrobatids and dart frogs doing stationing. We wanted to try to do that with our axolotls. So our entire idea was to get them to come to a central point, mainly so we can count them. Then it ended up helping us in the future because we noticed some medical issues that we could address at that time as well. So to do this whole process, first we put in like a clear ring in the water. That ring is kind of like a big marker to show the axolotls where they're supposed to go. That's where reward is dropped on this kind of flat rock. And then we will bang on the rock 3 times with the tongs. So that's just kind of vibratory cue that they can feel in the water. We're actually thinking about increasing this a little bit with sound cue. So doing like a speaker and having the vibrations from that work. And then we also do a chemical cue, which is a scent cue. And we can do worm blood, we can do fish oil, which is what I did just recently. And then we can also do shrimp, and that kind of helps spread around the exhibit a little bit more and tells them to come to that central area. I was actually really excited about this trial because I saw one that immediately moved towards the scent cue, which tells me it's working, which is great.
About how long have you been doing this training?
About a year and a half now. We started it last year, and it was a lot of trial and error, just because we had no idea what to expect. And like for example, we started off by using clickers, thinking that works for mammals, it should work for amphibians too. And then we found out axolotls don't have ears, so it didn't work.
Lessons learned.
Yeah, so we kind of studied how they hunt too. It's normally by vision and also by scent. So having that scent cue is a really great thing. We adjusted some minor things within the exhibit, as in we turned off like our waterfall and our pumps just so that the water wasn't moving around so much and moving that scent cue around, so they weren't getting confused essentially.
Yeah.
And then we decided this year to kind of step things up a little bit, that we would start tongue feeding as a reward. So it's just kind of like more of a direct line for the reward, I guess.
Yeah.
Rather than what we originally were doing was putting in the scent cue, kind of allowing whoever comes to the rock to come to the rock. It took about 10 minutes. Sometimes we let it go a little longer. And then we would drop the reward and kind of watch from there. And it would usually, the entire training to get like all the food gone would take, I would say, an hour. So it was a very long time. And we've noticed a lot of improvement just coming from there.
That's awesome. I love you speaking on the evolution of the process. So what are some of the things that you've noticed now that the training has progressed? What are some of your successes with this training?
We definitely see all the axolotls a lot quicker. Like I was saying today, I was very happy because there's 8 axolotls in the exhibit and I saw 7 right off the bat. I tongue fed a few. Those ones were specifically around the rock, which is why they were tongue fed. Just having more, like, notice, oh, that one's getting fed. I should go over there. Like, I just like seeing that little bridge, you know?
Thank you so much for sharing all of this great success story with us today. And it's a huge example of thinking outside of the box, and lots of different things work. We just have to try it.
Yeah,
Thank you for
definitely.
joining us. are here today with Anya, one of our bird keepers, and she's going to tell us about some unique training she's done with two of our rescue birds.
Yes, so we have two rescued sandhill cranes. They came to us with pre-existing injuries from the wild. Both of them are missing parts of the beak. One of them is missing top half, and the other one was missing bottom half.
Wow.
Yep.
So what challenges did that pose?
When I started working with them, I started with the Bridge and Reward Association, and I started tossing them whole kernel corn on the floor or ground, and that's when the problem started. It was really, really hard for them to grasp it because they have one longer part of the beak and the shoulder. So it would take them like 5 minutes to get it, finally to eat it. And we were like, okay, how to improve that? So we started brainstorming with the team. And one of my coworkers came up with an idea of using a deeper container, like a paper tube. So we started repurposing our mealworm containers, and now
Awesome.
it's much easier.
So did they pick it up pretty quick?
Yes, they will put the longer part of the beak, like submerge it into the corn until they can grab it with the shorter one. And it's like instant, like it takes like 2 seconds.
Awesome power of brainstorming with
Yeah.
the group. So what were some of the things you were able to accomplish now that you had a great feeding methodology?
With them, the important part is to get the weights to make sure they're getting enough food because of the beaks. So voluntary weights was one of them, and then I've worked with one of them since he's a little bit more into training, if I can say that.
Yeah.
He targets really well, and both of them came from the wild. Since they are rescues, they are having full wings, and we have to manage that. So building that trust to be close in proximity to eventually start working on voluntary feather clipping will be great.
Wow. Thank you so much for sharing your experience. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Maki, target. Maki, target. Good boy.
Thank you so much for joining the Detroit Zoological Society on this journey of training. We really hope that some of the things that you've been able to see and celebrate with us help you with training successes at your organization. Thank you.